Hi, I'm Kelsey from roughandtumblefarmhouse.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make very easy DIY wool felted soap. We were just on vacation with my husband's family, and the place we were staying didn't provide any sort of toiletries at all, including soap. And so we went to the local farmer's market, and someone there had wool felted soap, and I had completely forgotten about this really cool kind of craft that you can make, and it works really, really well. My in-laws were all just fascinated by it and really loved it, and then my mom came to visit and she used it and she really liked it. And so I thought, how fun would that be to make some myself? I do make soap just kind of as a hobby, and I thought it would be neat to show you how you can make it too. Now, the things I love about wool felted soap is that it's kind of a built-in little scrubby washcloth that really helps to get your hands really clean. I also like the fact that wool is antibacterial, so it might seem kind of off-putting at first that everyone's using the same kind of wool scrubby, but really it naturally has antibacterial properties in it. Wool also has lanolin in it, which is a naturally moisturizing oil, so that gets on your skin as well as you use the hand soap, so you're kind of washing and sanitizing and moisturizing all at the same time. Another thing that's great about wool felted soap is that it doesn't make a mess on your counter. We have one of those little wood kind of soap things that you put the soap in, but it still gets like goopy under there. And with wool soap, that just doesn't happen. Or with wool felted soap, you don't have that issue. The other thing that's really great about wool felted soap is it is a really fun project for adults or for kids to do. Even little peanuts can do this project. They'll probably get a little bit bored before they get finished with it, but it's a really fun project to do, especially in the summertime. And also it's really fun too if you want to add additional designs to your soap, you can do that as well. So we're going to head into the house and I'm going to show you how you do it. So for this project, there's really just a couple of things you're going to need. One, of course, is a bar of soap. This is a bar of goat's milk soap that I made that turned out a little bit ugly just because I had to rebatch it. I forgot to put an oil in there. So this isn't one of my prettier soaps, so it's a great candidate for doing felting. You can do just store-bought soap you make yourself, or you can even get seconds or ugly soaps from soap makers is another great way to get some good kind of local soap. Next thing you're going to need, which sounds kind of funny, is a piece of old nylon or pantyhose type stocking. You want a pretty decent sized chunk, so I wouldn't just grab some extra from the shoe store or something. Just snip off an old pair that you have and use those. Next, you are going to want some wool roving. So wool roving is wool that has been cleaned and it has been carded or run through a machine, so it should be really smooth, really soft and beautiful. And it doesn't really come apart like if you pull this way. It's really, really tough. But if you just kind of gently separate the fibers out like this, it should pull apart really easily, almost just like cotton candy. So if you have a big thing of roving, like I have a whole big bag here, you're going to want to separate off a decent sized chunk. You can kind of check with your soap first if you want to see how it fits. So with this, I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, but so we're gonna wrap the soap completely this way, and we're gonna wrap it completely the other way. So that kind of maybe will give you an idea of where you want to take your roving apart at if you have a big chunk of it like this. The next two things are absolutely optional that you may want to use. So this here is a felting needle, so it has little barbs there you can kind of see on the needle. And this is to use if you want to put a design on your soap afterwards. You use this and basically stab in the design until it adheres to the wool. So these are really cheap. You can get these online. I can link these below to where you can buy these if you want to add designs to your felted soap. Additionally, if you do want to put a design on there, these are just chunks of various dyed wools. I got these from just kind of a fiber day. They sell a lot of times just kind of like grab bags of different colors that they maybe hand dyed themselves that people use for felting projects like this. So this again is optional, or even if you find something like this, you can totally use this to felt your soap rather than roving. So if you want to do just a multicolored, crazy looking, fun felted soap, you can use multicolors. It doesn't have to all just be one color. So to begin, I'm just going to place the soap here in the roving, and I'm just going to wrap it around a time or two. So it should be pretty bulky. And then I'm going to take another chunk of roving and wrap it around it the other way. So I layered this, I think, about twice going around. So there I have now wrapped my soap both ways like a nice little package, and I am going to stuff this whole thing inside of the stocking. If you want to add other colors, you certainly can now. So if I wanted a little bit of yellow, I could pull this out and kind of make a neat design on there if I wanted to ahead of time. but as part of the wet felting process, which is what we are doing, your design isn't really going to stay in the same place, at least not very well. So if you want just kind of a mishmashy looking thing, then that's perfectly fine to do it that way. But if you want a more specific design, the better option is to use the needle option. So, all right, soap is in the stocking, nice and covered still. And the next thing we're gonna do is put this under some really hot water and start to rub it to make the wool start to felt. So really you wanna make sure you scrub very, very well with your hands, get the top, the sides, the corners, and you don't have to be scrubbing super hard. It's more kind of the motion of the friction that's helping the wool fibers to bond together. So again, just keep it under that nice warm water. Here I pulled out to check on it and see it's a little bit loose in some spots, like here in this corner it's a little bit puffy. So I just popped it back in the stocking and worked on it again. And then here we have, again, it's a little bit puffy, but as it dries, it's gonna turn out just fine. So the next step is to let it dry. And here, just so you can see, this is a soap that's been used quite a bit. You can see that the felt shrinks with the soap. It just continues to felt down even more. And when you're done with it, you can just toss it out to the birds, cut it apart and do more felting with it. It's up to you. So here, this is the finished bar after drying for overnight. And then I'm just going to take a little bit more wool here to put a design on it. So needle felting is incredibly easy. Anyone can do it. They even have tools where if the needles are kind of hard for you to hold, you can stick them inside a tool that has a nice handle if you're going to be doing a lot of this. And so you just place the wool where you want it on top of your felted wool. And then you just start stabbing it in with the needle. Watch for your fingers. You can really do kind of big fluffy designs. You can be very detailed and do really fine work with it as well. So on this soap, I decided just to do kind of a simple basic green vine. And so this whole soap probably took me less than 10 minutes to do the felting with here. So again, doesn't matter what part of the soap you're doing, it's just poking it with a little needle that has little tiny barbs on it. So here's how that one turned out with a little green vine on it. And then this is another one I did with just a big kind of pretty sunflower on it. Didn't take very long at all. And again, before you do the felting, you want to make sure that they are nice and dry. All right, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a beautiful felted soap that you can use for yourself or give as a gift. You can always find new fun videos like this here at our channel. We post a new one every single week, sometimes two, and we always have 2 new posts over on the blog at roughandtumblefarmhouse.com, where you can find farming, family, food, and fortitude at our Rough and Tumble Farmhouse.